so the most important discovery in Jewish history, I would say, tell me if you disagree with this, before the Dead Sea Scrolls was the Cairo Geniza.
I obviously yes.
Well, I guess
We have so
it's
much history
subjective,
that
but
we can uncover and trace more Jewish history because of the Cairo Geniza than I can't think of another field that we can do.
right.
But there are many findings that may have importance in other ways. So I don't want to
Okay, fair enough. But
diminish the importance of other findings.
in
But
the
of
scope
course,
of the material, I mean,
yeah,
it's not just Bibles. 25,000 Bible fragments out of 196,000 fragments. That, I mean,
we have more writing represented by everyday people in the Geniza than you have for most of medieval Europe. So,
wow, that's a profound statement.
I had 300 fragments in my PhD thesis, which I deemed written in a less formal, 300.
Children. Yeah, go on.
I think 300 or a bit more than 300.
Okay.
300, and where I found that certain fragments belong together is like more than one page.
And you count that
counted
as
as one.
Okay.
So
it's a lot more than 300 fragments then.
No, it's 300. No, 300.
300 manuscripts or 300 fragments? Like you're saying if they connect, then that's counted as one.
That's counted as one. So
okay, so 300, what we call
300 manuscripts at least. At least 300 manuscripts. But where else in history of the same period can you find 300 papers written by someone who's barely educated?
So you're saying that's not common. So here's where I wanted
to. Also, I should say, not barely educated. Literacy was very high in the Middle East at this time. Most everybody learned to read and write.
So let's go back to the Cairo Geniza before we get to that. So the Geniza was this room in the synagogue where they would, or kind of a closet actually.
It's a closet, an upstairs part of it.
Right, and they would like kind of throw stuff over the top pole or something. I heard.
Yeah.
And then some of it actually comes from the cemetery, maybe. Whatever. In any event, it came from Cairo because Cairo was so dry it survived. And what blows my mind is that if you would have gone to any synagogue in the Jewish world, and if it had been the right climate conditions and right maybe geopolitical conditions, you could have found the Cairo Geniza in almost maybe any Jewish town, right? And the reason we didn't is because the synagogue was destroyed by wars and floods and fire, and it was moist, and then it was put in a cemetery, but it survived in Cairo.
Well, and this is not the only Geniza that's been discovered.
So what are some other Genizas?
There's Genizot in Eastern Europe that are full of manuscripts that have been destroyed or have been lost.
So the point is, this is one synagogue out of what must have been hundreds across the Jewish world, thousands.
Every synagogue has a Geniza, or is supposed to have a Geniza.
Right.
The synagogue here in Cambridge has a Geniza.
So in Israel we have Geniza dumpsters. Did I ever tell you about that? It's a giant green dumpster. And it says that it's for anything that has God's name written on it. You can put it in that dumpster, and it's going to be treated with respect.
Okay, even though it's in a dumpster.
And because there's just such a great quantity, and there's no room. Like we don't have, in Israel we don't have a lot of room.
It's not an old rusty dumpster.
It kind of is. It's an outdoor giant green. We call them sfardea, frog, right? It's a giant green dumpster. And it looks just like a regular garbage dumpster, except in big letters it says, "This is not for garbage; it's for holy books, anything with holy writing on it." And when you think about there's a synagogue and they run off a bunch of photocopies, right? What are they going to?
I've had this problem. I printed off a bunch of photocopies of Bibles that have God's name on them. I need to put them in our Geniza. I'm not going to throw them away. As you said, I'm a religious Jewish woman. So I wouldn't do that.
So the Cairo Geniza has these documents that have survived, and they're not all Bibles, though. That's the interesting thing.
No, we've got everything. We've got
aren't there recipes and love
legal
letters
documents? We've got a sheet of music. We've got everything. We've got a whole society preserved in the Geniza.
That's amazing, and that's one synagogue. That's amazing.